Hello YouTube, I'll welcome you on this fine day, and this is my M21 review. A few points before we begin. I will review the cards for historic only. That means historic best of 3 for constructed, historic brawl for when I talk about brawl, and a few limited, notable limited cards here and there. Second of all, if the image quality is not nice in some parts of the video, that is because I'm taking the images of Scryfall, and they don't have all the high quality images yet. Another point, I will read the title of the card, but I will not read the text because I don't want to convolute the video and I just want to get straight to the point. I will review the cards in order that they are spoiled. And let's jump straight into it, shall we? So, first card, Mangara the Diplomat. This card seems quite decent as a commander for Brawl, and overall I think this is a good sideboard card in constructed, but maybe it is good enough or like flexible enough that it will see main deck play. And yeah, I think it's hard to evaluate, essentially. Card draw in white is something we usually don't see, so we will see. But one thing for constructed, I do think this is not good enough against moderate aggro, because when you drop something on 4, your opponent can usually then just Ember Cleave over it, and yeah, okay, you draw a card, and you have the lifelinker, but that gets first striked away and you're dead, so doesn't matter too much in that situation. Second card, Double Vision. This card is pretty nice. I can see this being played in a Tutor Flash deck for historic, but 5 mana is a lot, and why play this at 5 when you can just drop Thousand Year Storm at 6 and have a way more powerful effect? But maybe I'm wrong, right? I think this will see a bit more play in Brawl, with some nice, sweet, janky explosion combos, but I don't know. I'm not too fond of this card, but I guess it's cool. Next card, Spark Hunter Masticore. This card is really well staggered, as usual for a Masticore, right? And really, really powerful, and it really messes with Planeswalkers. But the discard is a huge downside. Like, this card can, like, you drop it, and when it survives for 1 turn, it is pretty much unkillable. Planeswalkers can't bounce it, and yeah, like, you usually want this against control decks with a lot of Planeswalker, but then the problem becomes Brazen Borrower, or just any bounce effect in general, and then it really hurts because you had to discard a spell to cast this. You can resurrect this off Call of the Death Dweller for sweet value, right? But overall, we have to see how it plays out. Baneslayer Angel won't see play in constructed because Lyra exists, and that doesn't see play at all. And for Brawl, a lot of decks that play Lyra, well, except Sisay, want to play the Baneslayer Angel as well, because it's nice redundancy to have, so that's a great card. Peer into the Abyss. Oh boy, I could talk a whole video just about this card, but essentially it boils down to this will not be used in a fair way, and when you use it, you usually have set up your deck in a way that you win the turn instantly with it. One card that is super notable with this is Emergent Ultimatum, because then you can make piles of cards that win you the game anyways, depending, like, no matter what the opponent chooses. Because Peer into the Abyss with the draw, whenever you draw a card, mill 2 of the opponent effects, instantly mill the opponent's library, or Underworld Dreams targeting them just kills them. So you can make piles of Omniscience, Peer into the Abyss, and something else, right? Maybe a win condition, and then they have to take the Peer, because if they take the Omniscience, you instantly win, and if you let them take the, like, if they take the third card, maybe the Underworld Dreams, you have Peer and Omniscience, and that is also not good. So they have to take the peer in that situation, and you have the essentially a third card and an Omniscience on the battlefield for free in quotation marks. So really nice things you can do there. Liliana, Waker of the Dead, is very comparable to the 3-mana Lily of the Veil, but I think it's considerably worse because 1 mana is a lot, especially if it comes down early for constructed. Maybe it can be a cool commander for Brawl, but yeah, I'm quite conservative on this card, let's put it that way, because my main problem with the card is that the discard effect, how do I put this? In decks where you playing a lot of creatures, this card doesn't seem too insane to like really have this amazing -X effect. Because you play this on curve in a creature deck, and there are not a lot of creatures in the yard, so you're just left with discards. But if you drop this later on in a deck that has a lot of creatures in there, when you already have so many cards in the graveyard, like you usually don't win hard anyways, and then the card is not enough. I don't know. Not too amazed by it. A card I am amazed about is Teferi, Master of Time, and is like 29 other printings. I think this has 30 different versions, or like something ridiculous like that. But the card itself is really cool by design. I think it's more balanced than the other 2 Teferis, the 3-mana and the 5-mana Teferi, but I think this card is not to be underestimated. Like, activating abilities at instant speed and a phase out at instant speed, damn, that can mess up things like a lot. So yeah, we have to see, but I think this will be a strong contender. Also, you have to know this can be your commander, and yeah, I think some degenerate things will happen. Teferi's Prodigy, this is pretty much just good for limited. Teferi's Toolage, whatever. This is a card that, and like one of the cards I was thinking about when I was talking about Peer into the Abyss, because whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards and a sweet looting on there too. The what's it called? Psychic Corrosion does seem constructed play, so this won't as well. But for decks that want Psychic Corrosion, for example Ashiok decks, middle decks in Brawl, this is a nice redundant piece, so those will probably pick it up, and maybe we will see it in Peer into the Abyss combo decks. So yeah, nice redundant piece, and in formats where the one doesn't see play, the other, like this one, like won't see play as well. Teferi's Ageless Insight. Oh boy, I am excited for this card. Constructed? Yeah, you can do a lot of shenanigans with this. I think there are too many shenanigans that you are able to do with this card to list them all, and it's just a matter of are a few of those shenanigans good enough to see constructed play, and we will see, because I haven't thought about anything amazing in constructed yet. But for Brawl, this is an all-star for a few decks. Nif Mizzet, Joyra, and those cards, like those are insane with this card. Also note with Joyra, this is historic, so whenever you cast this, you draw a card of Joyra anyways. And how the cards works is also when you would have a card that draws you 6 cards at once, this just draws you 12 instead of 2, and it's amazing. Like, this just draws you so many cards, and you probably want to have an Oracle or Jace or Nexus in your deck if you're playing this, because you will deck yourself quite fast. Next card up on the list is Renanceri Inseparable. This is really a commander card, really. This is probably, like, if you're running this in your Brawl deck, the likelihood that you're running this as a commander is almost 100%. because if you're running a cat dog deck, this gives you all the colors and is a nice payoff. If you're not running one, why would you run this? And yeah, for constructed, 4 mana 4/4 is actually not too bad. The mana cost is yeah, a bit iffy, but still good. I mean, we also have the checks and the shocks, so it's not too bad. And yeah, we have to see how many good dogs or cats and dogs are printed that are actually playable and constructed to like see maybe will this see play, maybe will it not see play. So yeah, we have to watch an eye out for that, but it will be a commander for Brawl. Containment Priest. This will see play in sideboards, maybe main boards. This just destroys Winota in response to the Winota triggers. You exile their stuff that they want to put into play. And other than that, Historic Brawl, you will see this in Hatebeer decks. If it's not a Hatebeer deck, you will probably not see it. And overall, a really, really, really nice reprint to have. Like, just to have it available to us, so yeah, I like that one. Next up, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Mono green ramp or mono green Tron almost was experimented briefly with the creation of Historic, where you just draw a lot of forests with Karn and just like go big really fast, and this will maybe see play in there because Ugin is one of the cornerstones of Tron in Modern. For Historic Brawl, this is probably a bit too expensive unless you're cheating it out. But yeah, it depends. Like, this is a really, really nice top end finisher for ramp. So if you're ramping, this is one of the things you want to ramp into. And since it's colorless, you can slap this into any Brawl deck. Yeah, let's see. Azusa Lost Boss Seeking. Constructed? Maybe. Maybe. The deck that would run this is Mono Green Tron again. But for Historic Brawl, this is an amazing card. Not as a commander, because I don't think there is enough support for that yet. But for 2 commanders, this is amazing in the rest of the deck. Those 2 are Tatiova and the Gitrock monster. And those really, really, really like you to be able to drop more lands onto the field. So those decks really want this card. Great reprint again. Vito Thorn of Duskrose. This is essentially one part of the Exsanguinate Blood combo. And yeah, like if another part gets printed down the line, we have the infinite combo available with this one. This just pops off if you have Sorin as a Brawl commander, or because your creatures always have life link, and yeah, just deal a ton of damage by doing this. And overall, I think it's not enough for Vampire now. No, I don't think it will see play in any constructed way like with Vampire Tribal, but maybe Cat Oven wants this. Or just, also it's a good card in a Yara decks in Brawl. So I think it's a solid card, and I think it's a really, really well balanced card. It's really strong, but I don't think it will be broken. So, great card. The next card is a reprint I'm very, very excited for, and that is Grim Tutor. If you're doing, like, if people are discovering degenerate combos they want to search for, this will be the go-to card to search for those combos in Historic. If there are not degenerate combos that you can search for, you probably don't want this in your deck and it won't see play. But I can see this tutoring for Emergent Ultimatum for a win, and also being a pile for Emergent Ultimatum as one of the 3 cards you are searching off if you have the 1 piece on the battlefield already. So this could be really, really insane, right? But yeah, just having an additional tutor for Brawl, like 1 redundant piece, so we have 1 more tutor available, is going to supercharge the combo decks in Historic Brawl, so I am very, very excited for that. Next card, Quadrant Riot. Whenever you cast a spell that's blue, white, blue, black, or red. So notable, this grows, also, by the way, reprint, this grows whenever you're casting a spell that's not green, essentially. So, yeah, this is essentially a better Spell Gorger weird for a few decks. And 1 mana doesn't seem like much, but oh boy, is it a difference if you're like using every single bit of mana for one spell each like turn and cantrip, cantrip, cantrip. So this may be part of an archetype in best of 3 with what's it called? Like Miracle Grow. That was the old vintage deck, right? 19 something, where you just played cantrips, 10 lands, and this as your finisher. And yeah, like if there is a spell slinging Miracle Ghost right of deck, this will be in it. If not, I don't think so. For Brawl, it's a bit too awkward, to be honest, because it is green, so you're gonna have green cards in your deck, and not too few of them. But also this doesn't want you to cast green cards, so a bit too weird. So, Ruined Halo. So one thing to note is, like, when you have a name something you have protection from, you can also have, like, protect yourself from a creature that's already on the battlefield. And yeah, just a really flexible and amazing card. This just hoses Zenith Flare, but that's not too impactful on Historic anyways. It's more of a standard thing. I think I have to play this card a bit with this card again, because it is a reprint after all. But back in the day I haven't played it too much, so I can't say too much about the card right now. A card that I can say a lot about, though, is Tormod's Crypt. And just being a 0 mana artifact is amazing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, text sometimes really doesn't matter on 0 mana artifacts, because Jorah just goes nuts with it. And other decks can, like, this is an amazing sideboard card because it exiled the opponent's graveyard. Like, we have a lot of sideboarding graveyard options for best of 3 now. And yeah, just one word, Jorah, and that's all I have to say about its historic Brawl viability. Fierce Empath, also reprint, and it is a reprint that will see play on mono green ramp decks, because I can see decks that just run 4 copies of this, 4 copies of Ulamog in Constructed, and all the ramp in the world. So you have 8 like copies of Ulamog essentially, and then just try to cheat out Ulamog as fast as possible, and that's about it. Like, super linear strategy. And this will obviously also see play in Historical. There is no way this doesn't see play. Like, this card is any tutor that like is flexible. Like, a tutor on a creature is way more valuable than a tutor on something else, because you can search for, especially in green, you can search for tutors really easily. Like, its creatures really easy, so you can do something like Finale for X equals 3, search this out and put an Ulamog into your hand, and that allows you to actually cast Ulamog instead of just putting him on the battlefield, so you get the 2 exile triggers as well. So just really flexible paths you can take with this. Also, when this comes into play, you can sacrifice it afterwards because it hasn't done its job. Super flexible card, and I really like it. Next card, named Eliminate, and yeah, it's just a nice removal piece. That's all I have to say. Limited, nice removal piece. Constructed. Yeah, this can't kill Teferi when it comes down, because it is an instant, but Teferi says no to instants, so right. But that's it. It's nice. Indulgent Patrician, and this card is. It will see play in live gain black-white decks in Historic Brawl. I don't think it will see too much play in Constructed. It's too defensively statted for that. And yeah, if you play live gain, maybe even Vampires in Historic Brawl, this will probably be part of your deck. Nice card. Basri Devoted Paladin. This is one of the Planeswalker Dex cards, so this has lower power, and its power is too low to see any plane constructed or brawl. Same goes for Adherent of Hope. Oh no, never mind. Adherent of Hope will probably see play in historic brawl decks with Basri as the commander, because there is also 3 mana Basri I have yet to talk about, but this curves really nicely because you're guaranteed to have the Basri at 3, so you curve this into the Basri, so this will probably see play in those specific historic brawl decks, but other than that, yeah, won't see play. Same goes for Basri's Aegis. Nope, won't see play. Sigiled Contender, no, won't see play. These are just like these cards are intentionally lower power, because yeah, they are for Planeswalker decks, and they don't want to put insane cards into those decks. These are introduction products to newer players, so yeah. So Teferi, Timeless Voyager, and Historian of Zhalfir, those 2 also won't see play. Also too low power. Teferi's Wavecaster and Mystic's Skyfish, those 2 won't see play. Liliana Deathmage and Liliana Scorn, those also won't see play. And one card of the Planeswalker decks that maybe will see play is Liliana Scrounger, because if you have any Liliana Planeswalker as your commander in Historic Brawl, this will maybe be in your deck to put additional loyalty counters onto that Liliana, so that is pretty nice. And maybe there will be some weird combo thing in Historic, but I doubt it, because it doesn't matter how many die, you're just putting 1 counter each turn onto your Liliana, so yeah, why not just proliferate if that's the case, right? Spirit of Malevolence, it's a spirit. If it was the art suggests kind of that it's a skeleton or something like that, but if it was a zombie, this would probably see play in zombie decks, but yeah, nope, won't see play. And to continue the trend of not seeing play, I'm just naming Chandra Fire's Catalyst, Chandra's Firemaw, Stormcaller, Carol Keep Disciples, or maybe the Stormcaller will maybe see play, right? But I doubt it. There are better options, especially in Historic. Anyhow, Garrick's Savage Herald, Garrick's Warsteed, Predatory Worm, and Wildwood Patrol, which all won't see any play because they're too low powered. A card I am excited for, and I admit it is a bit janky, is Chromatic Orrery, because this card, when you have cards that untap this, you are up for some nice, sweet mana generation. This can be really annoying with cards like, what's it called? Corridor Monitor, because you pay to untap this and gain 5 mana, so yeah, this nets you a lot of mana. Maybe this will see in Joyride decks, or any artifact decks for that matter. And keep in mind, it's a legendary artifact, so that's a bit annoying for a best of 3 constructed, because yeah, if you had multiples of these on the field, this would be amazing, but being legendary is not really that much of a downside when you're in a single format. So I think this will see a bit more play in Historic Brawl than it will be in best in constructed. Gadrak the Crown Scourge will be quite nice though. So 2 decks that want this: sacrifice based decks and artifact decks. And I think the sacrifice based decks will take the cake on this one, because artifact decks just don't need an overstuttered beater usually. But maybe this will splash into the artifact aggro deck and the Azorius aggro, and that maybe we will have Jeskai aggro. And that will maybe be nice. But this will probably see most likely play in Corvault decks, because treasures are just amazing for Corvault, and any way to get treasures is just fantastic for him. So keep an eye out for this guy in Corvault decks. Pack Leader, an actual good dog. well, all dogs are good dogs, right? But this is actually also a good card, because a 2-mana Tutor non-legendary that Lord that gives other dogs +1/+1 is also already decent statted, but it also is protects your team. And the amazing part of this is that he's also protecting himself. So this is really like, this card we'll see in the cat and dog deck, see play in the cats and dogs decks in Historic Brawl, and if there is a good dog aggro deck available in Historic best of 3, this will see play. Otherwise no, because there are other options with the Dent of Vanguard that are just plain better. The next card I don't have the name for yet. Scryfall has it listed as Playham Devil, which is obviously not the real name, but it's a funny pun. But in case I'm not pulling up the English version, it's a 4-mana, 5-mana card with 5/5, Creature Devil, and whenever you sacrifice a permanent, Playham Devil deals 1 damage to any target. So this is just a worse Mayhem Devil, and too expensive for constructed. Also, I think too expensive for Historic Brawl, so I don't think this will see any play. A card that maybe we will see played is Primal Might, because that is just a strictly better Prey Upon, because Prey Upon doesn't give you the option to pump the creature as well for even more mana. So maybe. I mean, Prey Upon didn't see play at all, so this will maybe see play, but I doubt it will see too much play. Llanowar Visionary seems like a really nice card for Elf Ball. Maybe the combination of getting new mana and drawing a card is good enough for constructed, but this will most likely see play in Elf Ball decks in Historic Brawl, because there are not a lot of elves, so just more redundant pieces is just amazing. Yeah. Shipwreck Dowser. Really glad that we get Prowess back, first and foremost. And 5-mana 3/3 is just a lot to ask for. This is obviously really great and limited, but yeah, I don't think this will see too much play in other formats, honestly. One reprint we are getting though from Modern Horizon is Reign of Revelation, and Reign of Revelation is just, it's okay. Draw 3 cards, discard a card. I think it's just a bit worse for combo decks. Like you have a lot better options at 4 mana for value generation, so I'm looking at this for combo decks, but there are also better options if you try to dig for a specific card, so I don't think this will see play. Next card, Jeskai Elder, also reprint with Prowess, and maybe. That's all I have to say. Maybe. It's not a wizard, and not being a wizard already limits its usage in what's it called? Brawl, because there is a commander, the 1-mana 1 blue 1 red is it commander that buffs all wizards. I forgot the name right now, but that card really desperately wants good 1 and 2 drop wizards, but this not being a wizard is, yeah, it's not great. Bad deals sounds like a bad deal. I'm not too keen on that card. The next card is Scryfall has it listed as Book of Big Brain Memes, but I know that's not the card, and I will search for the English version later, because I think I've seen one floating around on the internet. But you're really desperate if you try to play this card in constructed. It's worse than Treasure Map in my opinion, and that doesn't see play. And maybe in mono white brawl decks where you actually just want it for the card draw, because mono white has such better options, or mono red or something like that. But yeah, I don't think it will be too great, because the exile on it is not mandatory, so after 4 uses it is gone. Necromantia. That is a bit of a better, or worse, but mostly better. God damn it! What's the card again? The one blue and a black that has a very similar effect, but draws them cards instead of giving them zombies for each card from the exile from the hand. I will probably put it into the video when if I remember that, but essentially this will probably see play in sideboards and not more. But it will be a nice cards in sideboards. That's it. Next card, we have the Scythe. The Spooky Scythe, as Scryfall calls it, but I think I've seen an English version of this card flying around somewhere. But this card maybe sees play. When it sees play in sacrifice decks, obviously. Alanda, the Duskrows, will be happy about this probably. Also note, Alanda and all the other commanders with die effects are getting... Well, they're not getting errated, it's just a simple rules change, because now going to the command zone is not a replacement effect, it's a state-based action, and what that means is you now trigger die effects off of them. So when a lander dies on the battlefield and goes to command zone, you still get the tokens. So this will be pretty hype in that deck. Constructed, it's a no-no for me. Next card, this is probably limited all-star, the Whale. And one thing to note is maybe this is good enough for Constructed, because this is kind of uncounterable for 2 mana, but the cantrips are usually not countered in this lower power format. Maybe you counter them in Vintage and Legacy, right? But not here, so it doesn't matter that it's uncounterable essentially. If this sees play in Constructed, it will be in a Reanimator shell. And I think the same goes for Brawl. If you play this in Brawl, you'll probably want to reanimate some big stuff out of the yard, because this is a nice cantrip that puts also a big beater into your graveyard. Next card, Reprint, Rewind. If the card is good, it is really, really good. And the other time, it's just a 4-mana counterspell. Like, this is really good with Wilderness Reclamation, obviously, right? And it curves just really nicely to play Wilderness Reclamation, untap 4 lands, play this, and then have 4 mana again, and then play something else, right? We could even have Rewind into Rewind if they just play cards one at a time. But yeah, if this sees play, it will be really good. Otherwise, nope, won't see play. Next card, Fungal Rebirth. And I think this is a great card. Absent Sacrifice for Constructed wants this card, probably. It's also two non-humans for Winota. So maybe Winota wants this card in the deck. It's an instant. It's just amazing. And you can do, like, return something in response to them exiling your yard. And yeah, overall, really nice card, really solid card. Maybe you won't see too much play, but I don't care, I just like it. The next card is also... So, it's a bit of a weird one. It's an infinite discard outlet in white, because remember, you can discard a card and make this card indestructible, even if you don't, even if it's tapped. Because tapping it is not part of the cost, it is part of the resolution. So this means it's good, right? But if we ever have a deck, essentially madness decks that just want to discard the whole hand, this will see play in there and will be nutty, but so far it's probably a no for me. Carry and Grub, and it's okay. That's all I have to say. Not good enough for Constructed at all, and maybe we'll see play in decks that want to mill themselves in Brawl, but other than that, no. So the next card is the Megalodon, the Shark, and also limited, decent, but other than that, I don't think it will see any play. The Tide Skimmer, though, seems like a really nice card. that is a Signpost card unlimited for the Flyers deck, because I think it will be Flyers again in blue-white. Other than that, no, because like if this would say that if you attack with 3 cards, you draw 2. If you attack with 4, you draw 3. If it was something along the lines of that, that would be constructed playable, but this would also probably be way too broke for limited, so nope, not going to see play. So the next card here, one in the long line of Immortal Iron Fists. That is the official description of Scryfall. But it is essentially a, like, I don't think, so the Drakes are better in Historic, and that's about it. That's all I have to say about this, because I think the Drakes are just better, and if the Drakes don't see play, this won't see play, and yeah, I don't think this will cut it. The next cut though will cut it for really weird decks, because I think See the Truth, that is the translation, because I have the Chinese version up and running right now. Looking at the top 3 and putting one of it in the hand for a sorcery is okay. Like this type of card is usually way better at instant speed, right? But in decks that can cast this off the graveyard, off the top of the library, even out of exile with cards like Ladder of the Stage, this is just amazing. So I think this will see constructed play in weird decks if these decks are good. And I don't think it's too insane to just pull you in that direction, because it is not a strictly insane, well, it is a good payoff, but it's just draws your cards, so you also have to finish the opponent historic constructed. Same goes for Brawl. I think this will probably maybe see in Brawl decks that already do something along the lines of that cast a lot of cards out of the graveyard. But I don't think you will play, like, you won't build a deck just around this, because at the end of the day you just have one copy of it in your Brawl deck. Next card up and running, and I think I haven't seen this card actually yet. So this is my true first impression, I guess. Scryfall is saying that is quite possibly the Goodest Boy, and that's the actual name of it on Scryfall right now. 1 mana 1/1, sacrifice it, another. Oh boy. Oh boy, I think this is a better Resolute Watchdog. Right? Resolute Watchdog asks you for 1 mana and that can't attack. This is just amazing for Tulane decks. Like, if you haven't seen my Tulane video, you should totally check it out. But yeah, I think it's not good enough for constructed, probably because it is missing 1 power, and a 2 power versus 1 power on aggressive cards is a huge difference, because it's essentially doubling the power, right? The guard, that the 1 mana that you select something and gains indestructible when you sack it beforehand, that is probably better for White Weenie, but oh boy, this will see play in Historic Brawl, totally. Like Tulane decks, just White Weenie redundancy, Lurrus. Oh my god, this is just horrible for, well, it is amazing for Lurrus, but it's really horrible for the opponent that the Lurrus player has access to this. So yep, 100% Historic Brawl viable. Next card, up and running. Siege Striker, I believe. So this card is, oh no, oh, also first reaction, let's go. Creature, human soldier, 2 and a white, 1/1, a double strike, attacks. You may tap any number of untapped creatures you control, gains +1/+1 until the end of turn for each creature tapped this way. This gets chumped. This just gets absolutely chumped. I don't think this is good enough for constructed, because also it's, when it's not attacking, it's a 1/1, so it's way too easy to remove. And maybe Selesnya Historic Brawl decks will play this, but other than that, nope, don't see it. Next card is Faith's Feathers, also reprint, and too expensive for his for constructed, but probably decent enough as a pseudo removal piece for Brawl. That's all I have to say about that one. The Elder Gargaroth is probably a descendant of the Questing Beast, because oh boy, overstated green creatures with a lot of text. Here we go again. And I think this will 1000% see play in Stompy decks in Historic Brawl, because those want better redundant pieces at 5 mana. And I mean, I will probably put this into my Radar deck instead of something else. Maybe not, right? But we will see. And yeah, I think I'm not too sure if it's good enough for constructed, because it doesn't do anything the turn it just hits the board. It doesn't have haste, it doesn't impact the board, and when it goes to the opponent's turn, they just wipe you and you didn't get any value out of this. But oh boy, Historic Brawl, very happy to see this card. Also a bit too overstated, maybe, don't know. The Bolt Hound, funny they named it Bolt Hound, because we don't get Bolt this set, we get probably Shock. And all hounds are errata to be dogs, so it's more of a shock dog instead of a bolt hound, really. This card though won't see any constructed play at all. At 1 mana less, this would be amazing, and will probably maybe even replace Robber of the Rich in some decks. But at 3 mana it is just unplayable. It's amazing how much difference 1 mana can make, right? For Brawl, maybe elemental decks want this. And that's all I have to say, right? And the dog decks as well, right? It's a dog decks want this, it's an elemental decks want this, but other than that, meh. Chandra Horrifier is a card that I think is really hard to evaluate at first glance, because I really have to see how this plays out. I mean, the +1 is already reminding me a bit of Ugin, with his +1 and +2 that can deal 3 damage to something. But 2 damage? Yeah, I think like uptick on 2 damage is pretty nasty. And I think when you are empty-handed, the other +1 is just really amazing as well. So we have to see, essentially. But I think it will be a good Planeswalker. And that's all I have to say about that one. The Chandra's Megalith is amazing limited. And probably not good for constructed at all. Historic Brawl, maybe Torbrand wants this, or Elemental, or Dog decks want this. Other than that, no. Chandra's Piling, though, is a really nice card for constructed Cavalcade of Calamity decks, but those card decks are not good anyway, so it won't see play there unless it's in one of those decks. And yeah, it's okay. Torbrand maybe, other than that, nope. And obviously the good old Elemental. Chandra's Incinerator though, oh boy, let me tell you, maybe this will be just spawn a new kind of deck with just this as a 4-off in the deck for constructed. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but I wouldn't also be surprised if that doesn't happen, right? And I think in the right deck this can work wonders. I don't know. The problem Historic Brawl suffers from this is that we don't have enough redundant pieces for cards like Shock and Lightning Strike and whatnot for this to be amazing, and cards like Niv-Mizzet just come down too late for this to be relevant at all to the game plan, because if Niv-Mizzet is down, why not just play something that draws you a billion cards, right? So constructed probably, maybe spawning a new archetype. Historic Brawl maybe, maybe not. A Radiant Fountain reprint is a bad land. It's a good land in life gain decks. Other than that, it's a bad land. So easy. Revitalize reprint. We already have that available to us. Pestilent Haste. That is a really nice modal card if you're playing Cry of the Canarium and the Gold City something that is very similar to that in your Historic Brawl deck and want another copy, there you go. And I think this is probably better of those than those two, because the mode of removing 2 loyalty counters from each Planeswalker is fairly powerful, right? And it will probably replace Cry of the Canarium also in constructed decks. So, nice card. Then we have the next card. Visit of the... the Scryfall names is Visit of the In-Laws, but I think it's villagers or people or something like that. I don't know. Essentially, this card is amazing. I love it. 1 mana to draw 2 cards and sacrifice a creature at instant speed. Sacrificing a creature as a cost is so infinitely better at instant speed, because you can sacrifice the creature in response to the board wipe. And it's just amazing. Like, this card will see play. I don't care what you say. This will see play in Constructed. This will see play in Brawl. This is just an amazing and very, very, very efficient card. Like, I love it. Also, this is a power creep on Altar's Reap. So, yeah. And that's also a good card, right? Massacre Worm. Like, I remember when this was really, really good. But I don't think it's really, really good right now. So... it's okay. It will probably see play in some decks, but at the same time, no, I'm not seeing it popping off just yet. Basri Cat, that was the 3 mana Basri I was talking about earlier, and as a commander, yep, this will be your white weenie commander for Historic Brawl. There is almost no question about that. It's just really nice to have a 3-drop available to you at every given point in the game. And if Historic White Weenie is popping off, this will also be probably in there somewhere. Basri's Lieutenant. And... White Weenie doesn't usually want 4 drops. That's all I have to say about that one. It's a really nice 4-drop. And maybe it will... synergize really well with +1/+1 counter cards, themes, whatnot, right? But I think it's 4 mana. Well, it's not too good at 4 mana. Basri Solidarity. I don't think this will see play in Constructed, because Unbreakable Formation is just... Unbreakable Formation is 1 more mana, but you have to keep in mind it is instant speed and can make stuff destructible at instant speed. And yes, the counters are only put onto the creature at sorcery speed with Unbreakable Formation, but I think Unbreakable Formation just brings so much more to the table in decks like these, because it just protects you against your worst nightmare, getting board wiped, and this doesn't, so nah, don't see it. Basri's Acolyte, and yeah, also too expensive. Straight up too expensive. Won't see play. Solemn Simulacrum reprint, and this card, I mean, it's a commander staple. It will probably see a lot of play in Historic Brawl. I won't play it, maybe. I don't know. Maybe if I want more ramp. I can see this being played in Jora. Other than that, no, don't think so. And I think this just wraps up the first video. I will do multiple videos because I don't want to dump everything into one. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this video didn't get too long, and just tell me in the comments if you are interested in more of these preview videos, and also please give me feedback on what I should do better, what I should do instead of something else. Like, just tell me what you liked about the video, what you dislike, and how I can improve on that. Other than that, if you liked the video, please like the video. If you want to support the channel, please show that in subscribing the channel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.